Can't get enough sports shorts? Tune into Sports Shorts TV on Cox HD Channel 1013 Mondays at 8, Tuesdays at 9, and ETEL Channel 4. That's 52 weeks a year to get educated on sports by the best. Joel Davis and Ronnie Rantz.
And then sports225.com,
Welcome, everybody, to Sports Shorts. Ronnie Rantz here in the studios presented by La Bears Casino in Baton Rouge. That's my guest right here, Mr. Lee Feinswog. You've been seeing him, we had Sports Monday. Now it's 225.
24 years.
24, is that the number?
Yeah.
Wow. When's it going to be 25? Next year?
Yeah, next year's going to be the 25th year. And they can't fire me because I own the show.
Isn't that great?
Just like you.
As long as the check keeps clearing.
As bad
you might go to 30.
As bad as we are. They let us keep coming back.
We're going to talk to Lee in the first half hour of Sports Shorts, and then we'll be visited by his old friend and my old friend, Glenn Guilbeau. So it's back-to-back Journalist Day.
It's good.
On Sports Shorts.
Hey, let me say this, especially LSU fans. Listen to me. You don't know how good you have it with Glenn Guilbeau covering LSU and sports around here. Not only is he a fabulous sports writer, but he's real, he's honest, he tells it as it is. If something about LSU or the SEC or the Saints need to be criticized, he does it.
Right.
But if they need to be praised, he praises them. But if you want insight and well-written stuff, okay, Glenn, check should be in the mail by now. There you go.
Well, that also tells you, guy's been in the business for, Glenn cut his teeth covering a young Ron Rantz at Menard High for the Alexandria Daily Town Talk back in the 80s. So that gives you, tells you how long he and I go back.
Right, that's right.
But Doug Ireland on that staff, Bob Tompkins.
The recently retiring Doug Ireland. I mean,
any day now, maybe today.
Yeah, a fixture. Yeah,
any day now. Doug over 30 years.
Speaking of which, actually, even though he wasn't in Baton Rouge, he went and got the phone number and was the very first caller to the old Sports Monday.
Really?
Yes.
How about
the first show was September 25th, 1995. A lot of you were not even born yet. And Scott Rabelais and Dale Weiner were the first guests. I don't remember the order. I don't remember if it went Scott then Dale or Dale then Scott.
Right.
And but Doug made the first phone call.
God, Scott Rabelais been in this market that long.
He has.
Wow.
Yeah, because of course Scott not only grew up in Baton Rouge, went to LSU, then worked in sports information, and then got in with the State Times briefly before it folded and merged in with the Advocate, which is now called something like the Baton Rouge, New Orleans Advocate / the Times-Picayune, covering whatever.
Just Google it.
It's a spaghetti mishmash of newspaper dumb.
So I'll talk about a couple different things. One, your background, you went to college at Syracuse, correct?
I spent 2.5 years at Syracuse, where they may have gotten the line for Animal House, and he looks at him and goes, "Son, fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life." But yeah, I survived there for 2.5 years, majoring in water polo, drinking women, and a little academics. And I woke up one day and said, got to get out of here. And I transferred and graduated from Southern Illinois at Carbondale, which began a long weird.
How did you go there to there?
They had a journalism program. They were kind enough to take a 4-credit D in biology, that kind of thing. I got accepted to a few other schools, and just sometimes when you go someplace and you just go there and the fit was just perfect. I just loved it there, and I've been back to visit, and it's just great. I really enjoy it. But
most famous Southern Illinois alumni would be what?
Well, lots of them, but you're thinking in terms of basketball. Walt Frazier was, they won the 1967 NIT. And,
which was a real deal.
I was in college with Jim Belushi.
Oh wow!
Yeah, we didn't know each other. We graduated together, but I didn't know.
Wow.
A lot of really famous people. Melissa, is it Melissa McCarthy, the actress?
McCartney or McCarthy?
McCarthy,
the chunky one?
Yeah.
The one that's funny?
Yeah.
There you go.
She's a Saluki.
Okay.
Jenny McCarthy, the actress.
No, she's not chunky.
She was there for no, not at all. She was there for a year. I mean, I could go on. A lot of.
Okay.
A lot of famous journalists, business people, politicians. It's a big school. Yeah.
Is that where Brandon Jacobs ended up?
I believe you're right. After he transferred,
Assumption High, running back, went to Auburn, and then ended up
at
over
SIU, and then went to the New York Football Giants.
And won a Super Bowl.
But from there, it's a long, weird trail. Went home to Stony Brook, New York for a while. Then got my first job in Hannibal, Missouri. From Hannibal, went to Kansas City. From Kansas City to Winston-Salem, and then in Winston-Salem, interviewed for a couple of jobs in the summer of 1984. One was going to the Baton Rouge Advocate, then the Morning Advocate. And when I got offered the job, I said, I'll go down there for a year or two. But Baton Rouge is like the Hotel California. You can check out anytime you want, but you can never leave. So, and then my professional story. I mean, I was a Southern University beat writer for a while for the Advocate, and then ultimately the LSU basketball beat writer before I got out of the business. And
you mentioned the Southern University beat writer. It ties into a couple topics I want to talk on Southern.
Yeah.
One, I think the best story in college baseball this year nationally, not just Louisiana or Baton Rouge, is what Southern University has accomplished. They had 9 wins a year ago. This is a program that for the last number of years wasn't even eligible for postseason because they had so much turmoil with academics and paperwork and getting eligible for postseason in multiple sports. They're finally eligible this year, the first year they're eligible, and they win the SWAC, and they win over 30-plus games, a 21-plus win turnaround. It's an amazing story, and Carrick Jackson's only second season as the head coach.
Well, you go back to like when I was the beat writer, 86, 87, 88 baseball seasons. They were good. They had guys. Really they didn't have guys necessarily getting to the majors, but they had a lot of guys getting AA, AAA that far. Mm-hmm. They won an NCAA game or two in there.
Beat Cal State Fullerton in New Orleans.
2-0, I believe.
Mm-hmm. 1-0.
Was it? Mm-hmm. And Roger Cador had it going on, but it was a different time. You could still recruit by telephone like he did. He had no budget. He tapped into a market that other people weren't into yet, where he was getting some Central American players. Mm-hmm. And then as his career evolved into the 90s, that's when the SWAC started becoming not exclusively an all-black baseball league. It was still HBCUs, but a lot of white players, a lot of Central Americans, the other people tapped into that. And so the whole face of baseball changed. And then you could argue that all of baseball changed because of the success of places like LSU, which then filtered all the way around. So now you not only had the competition within the SWAC, you had competition everywhere. So it made it even tougher for small programs like Southern to succeed. Mm-hmm. So back to your point, to be able to do what they've done come full resurgence, I mean, with under a new coach and with this turnaround, it's pretty spectacular.
Yeah, the last time they were in an NCAA regional was 2009. They were at the Baton Rouge Regional, actually played LSU and had a lead going into the 6th or 7th with Chase Richard on the mound. Of course, LSU came back and won and went on to win the national championship. If LSU indeed does host a regional like most people expect, I would assume that Southern would be headed to that regional like they usually are.
I got a real problem with Paul Maneri this week.
What's that?
Can I tell you what? So he does interviews every day. There's a media availability, and it's not like I go there. I'd have to get out of my house and go do the interviews. But he wears a really cool pair of Oakley sunglasses. They're fabulous. And I want a pair like that. So I texted him. I said, Paul, forget about all this baseball stuff. I said, tell me the model of the Oakleys you're wearing every day for the interview, because I want to buy a pair.
Nothing.
You think like he has a job to do.
I thought you were messing with him.
No, I was dead serious. I'd have to text him again. Listen to me, Maneri. What are those Oakleys?
I don't think he even knows what the model is.
No.
He doesn't buy them. He just goes, I like those.
Yeah, you take them off, and you look right here. It's written. Oh no, I can't see those because I don't have my glasses on. Whatever.
Right,
it's a vicious cycle.
You were around Roger Cador for a long time when you covered Southern.
Yeah,
of course, you've been around him a lot.
And we've remained friends over the years.
In the market. He's getting inducted into Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame this June. I think he won like 14 SWAC championships.
Yeah.
It was Southern and Jackson State for 20 years was really the face of that conference.
And he's the epitome of the success of a homegrown Louisiana born and bred athlete. A guy from New Roads who made the most of every opportunity that he got to become not only a college graduate, but a professional baseball player, the Braves organization for so long. And then, a lot of people don't remember this, but when he came back to Southern University, he was hired as a basketball coach. He was assistant basketball coach. And then, of course, he became the baseball coach. So he's as a Louisiana guy as there is, who's come from, just strapping him on and taking advantage of every possible opportunity sent his way.
Well, the thing, it's an amazing story because, Coach Cador will tell you, he didn't really begin learning how to read and write, speak English, all that to a much later age because he didn't go to school till maybe 11, 12 years old.
Really? Now, that I didn't know, but he does, he does have that accent.
Well,
right.
he's got that accent because he spoke Creole.
Yeah.
And where he lived right across the lake river from New Roads, and until I think double digits, like 10, 11, 12. Before
That
we
I
started
didn't
getting
know.
Going to school
That I didn't know.
and learn how to speak English and write English and all that. I mean, that's so
Right.
to go from there.
But right now, I got this weird feeling that he's looking over at me. Ooh.
To go from that to college graduate, and then of
Yeah.
course to be the leader of men like he was and beloved figure
Yep.
in this community is a pretty amazing.
And a
story.
good, fun guy. I mean, Roger's just a good, fun guy to hang out with and visit. A lot of times when I have reason to go to campus, back when I would get out of my house, I'd go over
Right.
and just go to his office and sit around and just visit, even if it was just to catch up.
Well, he was the ambassador this week for the SWAC tournament. Roger Cador was, as they honored him. He got inducted into the SWAC Hall of Fame a year ago. This year he's getting inducted into the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. And that transitions me to a person that very well. And that's, when you look at the 2019 Hall of Fame class, the first two names that jump out at everybody are Les Miles and Peyton Manning, all right? And then, on a more commercial level, Roger Cador in this community. Yeah. But I tell people when I'm around the state promoting the 2019 Hall of Fame class, the number one athlete in the class is Danielle Scott, who, for those that don't know, went to Woodlawn High School in Baton Rouge, graduated 88 or 89, then went on to Long Beach State where she played basketball and volleyball. They won the national championship.
And look, like 15 years later or so, the NCAA deemed her one of the 6 greatest NCAA volleyball players of all time in a deal they did.
She wins a national championship. She wins the Heisman Trophy in her sport. She goes on to play in 5 Olympics, wins a couple of medals, plays professionally for years, and then I think one of the most impressive thing in the aughts in the 2000s, she was voted the number 1 indoor female volleyball player in the world.
Yeah.
I mean that's so if anybody's ever deserved of any Hall of Fame, it's her.
And also, to take that a point farther. In 2008, let me just tell you this, and you may not realize this. In 2008, the United States won the silver medal in Beijing, and 2 of the 12 players were from Louisiana. There was Danielle Scott and then Kim Willoughby,
right, from Assumption.
Been at Assumption High School and played at Hawaii. And Kim, in the semifinals to get into the final match, in all 3 sets, Kim had the game-winning kills.
Wow.
Anyway, you not only had that, but in 2012, she was a stretch now. They were coming down to pick that 12-person roster, and I happened to be in that gym out in Anaheim in the last 10 days before they were, and it was an NBA gym, no babies allowed.
Right.
It was serious. It was more fun than watching a match. Mm-hmm. And I remember looking at it and going, she's going to make it. And it was illogical to a point, but where I was going with that is the reason she did was not only was she still really good, but she's a great clubhouse guy in baseball terms. They needed somebody like that because there were a lot of young kids, and they needed somebody who'd been through 4 previous Olympics. Now, what really made me mad was that she didn't get to carry the flag in the opening ceremonies.
Who did that year? Do you remember?
Oh, probably some woman rower or something. I don't know, whatever. It's not but how in the world you could have a 5-time volleyball Olympian not carry the flag is beyond me. And she is the only 5-time volleyball Olympian in what is, the most popular, most played sport around the world. Yeah.
When was the first time obviously for those that don't know, Brenda LeBlanc is your wife, and she's a Hall of Fame volleyball player herself.
Let me just say, she's in 4 Halls of Fame.
Okay, so Tulane.
No, she never got into
Tulane.
Unbelievably,
wow.
no. The 2 she should be in 6, of course. She should be in the Tulane Hall of Fame, and she should be in the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. No, I know she's been nominated, and I've told her. She goes, I don't deserve to be in there, and I said, well, it's really going to be a stretch because that's a big time. But
if she would have just
of course, she's in
a little longer
at Episcopal School of Acadiana, their Athletic Hall of Fame, St. Joseph's Academy Athletic Hall of Fame, Louisiana High School Volleyball Association Hall of Fame, and then the LHSAA Hall of Fame, which is no small thing. I mean, the LHSAA is. I mean, when you think of the athletes, and you know this now more than you ever realized previously. Now that you're part of the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, I joke with people, we may be last in rows in schools, but damn, we can do some sports now. I mean, there's some pretty impressive people there. But, so Brenda, of course, was the longtime volleyball coach at St. Joseph's Academy. Still teaches there, but doesn't coach volleyball anymore. Was with Volleyball Baton Rouge for a really long time. Got out too early because she didn't get to coach one young Madison Carmina, Ronnie Rantz's daughter.
I know.
But she still had a great experience and is a wonderful kid.
So, obviously you came into Louisiana. You're big time into water polo and other things. But
I didn't know a volleyball from a hockey puck.
That's what I was going to say. You didn't
yeah.
know volleyball, and all of a sudden now you become this volleyball expert because of your being married to one of the legends of the sport in the state. But what was your experience with Danielle Scott? And when did you first kind of experience being around her and realize her greatness?
I had her on the old Sports Monday after one of the Olympics. And, Ronnie, we talked about how long it's been. I don't remember if it was after the 96 Olympics, after the 2000 Olympics.
Sure.
I can't remember. But 2004 Olympics, it was one of them.
Yeah.
But I've just always known her through the sport. And it's been really nice to see her. Speaking of Hall of Fame, I was with her and her family when she went into the International Volleyball Hall of Fame 4 years ago up in Springfield, Massachusetts. And, boy, you talk about the elite level of our sport.
Mm-hmm.
So, she's hitting all of them. But always a super nice person, and wonderful daughter, nice family, involved in the sport. I don't know if you ever heard of a person named Ruth Nelson, but she used to be the volleyball coach at LSU before Scott Luster came in. And Ruth is still does volleyball coaching and clinics at a high level, lives over in Texas. Still super involved with Danielle.
Why did Danielle Scott not end up at LSU? Did you ever get the backstory on that?
Well, just because she had the opportunity to go to a program like that and get
at
out,
the time,
get out of
they
town.
were just
yeah,
so much bigger.
Well, LSU was good now. LSU went to the 1990 and 91 Final Fours. And it was a real good program. She just had she come to LSU,
they'd have won
of course.
it.
Oh yeah, they'd have won. They might have won 4. Who knows?
Right.
But I never begrudge a kid an opportunity to go somewhere. If you got the opportunity to leave Louisiana and go to a place with a mountain or an ocean, Long Beach State, however, is not on the beach.
Yeah.
It's still a cool town and real close to the beach. It's like 10-minute drive. But they had it going on then too. There were Olympians coming out of that program.
We'll take a time out. We'll continue our conversation with Lee Feinswog, of course, a Renaissance man in the Baton Rouge area, journalist. He's a connoisseur of fine brews. And we'll talk about that and his appearances on AFR Weekly that have kind of caught on over the years. Plus, a little bit later, Glenn Guilbeau will join us. Don't go anywhere. Sports Shorts presented by LeBears.
Heater outages hurt everyone. Don't be a victim. Call AccuTemp and schedule your maintenance check today.
If you're an avid sports fan, then you need to check out the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, located in historic downtown Natchitoches, next to the Chateau St. Denis Hotel and the Natchitoches Convention Center. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is where the rich history of Louisiana sports is told through the pictures, artifacts, and by the legends themselves in video archives. Come to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum and visit a world-renowned architectural marvel. For more information and to purchase tickets to the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame events, visit lasportshall.com/purchase.
Introducing the Mercedes-Benz family of vans, including the full-size Sprinter and the mid-size Metris. If these are your wingtips, if this is your gourmet latte, then these are your vans. Vans for professionals. Strictly professionals. Best commercial van residual value according to ALG and starting at just $25,995. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to...
When you come to Relief Windows, your experience starts here.
Or here.
Then we come to your home.
We measure twice.
And then we bring custom windows to your home.
We remove your old windows. Install your new windows.
Clean our mess.
And we make sure you're completely satisfied.
And all of this before you pay a dime. And at Relief Windows, our #1 product is customer satisfaction.
Relief Windows.
Heater outages hurt everyone. Don't be a victim. Call Accutemp and schedule your maintenance check today.
Can't get enough sports shorts? Tune into Sports Shorts TV on Cox HD Channel 1013 Mondays at 8, Tuesdays at 9, and ETEL Channel 4. That's 52 weeks a year to get educated on sports by the best. Joel Davis and Ronnie Rantz.
Welcome back, everybody, to Sports Shorts. Ronnie Rantz, Lee Feinswog.
That's kind of a funky overhead view.
You like
there.
that?
Yeah, that's neat. Can we
show that again there, Paul O'Neill?
Like overhead fisheye. Yeah. Wow.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, for $300,000, the Guarantee's got some nice toys.
They do.
Don't they? We're presented by LeBear's Casino in Baton Rouge. By the way, LeBear's, I know you weren't there, Lee. I looked and I didn't see you. But they had Tone Loc and Color Me Bad a couple of weeks ago. They got a bunch of good country acts coming up right down your lane. And all you got to do is download the LeBear's Baton Rouge app on your phone. Check out the upcoming concerts and go to Ticketmaster.com. So what's in your, on your iPad? Like what's playing for you? What's your go-to? You're going to have a glass of wine, a beer, whatever it is, and you're going to listen to what?
Well, when I work out is usually when I put the headphones in and listen. So, I'll go with Spotify Zappa.
Okay.
A lot of old Frank Zappa.
I mean, you got the stash like he does.
Yeah.
Well, he's got a little longer. But
the other day, I listened to Neil Young and Crazy Horse.
Okay,
Everybody knows
Young.
This Is Nowhere, that album. Because that's a hard rockin' Neil Young album. I'm still,
you're still stuck in the time warp, the late '60s, early '70s.
Later '70s. Pink Floyd and the Who. Still my top two. The corporation out of which I do my writing is called Comfortably Numb Communications.
There you go.
Yeah. So yeah. Music pretty much ended after the '80s. Whatever. And
never got into the disco, huh?
Well, I got a couple of jokes, but I'm not going to say them. But no, there was some disco that was fun. Not like Casey and the Sunshine
Were you
Band,
a Bee
but
Gees guy?
Oh, like the Bee Gees.
Yeah.
Like Donna Summer. That kind of stuff.
Last Dance.
In the
is a
'80s, I
classic.
liked They Might Be Giants. I still like that. And Pink Floyd rode into the '80s, and Roger Waters broke away. Golly, but on Sirius XM, I've got if you know that deal, so I got 25, 26, and 27. Which is like classic rewind,
Sure.
deep tracks and whatever else right there, and then I'll go to the jazz or blues station.
The Neil Young, if you YouTube some Neil Young early '70s, he did some great appearances over in England. Some acoustic stuff over there. That's really good.
I've seen I've seen everybody I want to see, right?
Yeah.
Except Neil Young.
Oh wow!
But I only want to see him if he's playing in Canada. I think that's just right, So I don't know, whatever.
We'll have Glenn Guilbeau on in a little bit.
Nick Guilbeau loves his music too.
Yeah,
We hook up at Jazz Festival a lot of years and talk a lot of music. You can talk a lot of good music with Glenn.
I'm very diverse when it comes to music, but
I know
that's
are.
probably one.
Well, in case you're a first timer, you never heard him. The man can sing. He not only forget just doing the national anthem. You've done the national anthem at
about 15 times at LSU baseball.
Yeah, and other
and
venues,
some other stuff.
If we're ever going to put together a sports media band, I
want to get the call.
Well, Victor Howell can sing.
Victor can play the keyboard too,
right? And Jacques Doucet, I think, can do some.
He's got some kind of percussion at minimum.
I always told him that he should have had a band called the Jacques Straps, but it was.
That would be classic.
Anyway, you wanted to talk about Danielle Scott, by the way. Buy tickets to go to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and be a part of what's going to be a great night, because not only, like you said, Les Miles, who Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, he moved here, coached a little football, then moved away. I don't know. It's not. I know, but it's it's a business. Peyton Manning, of course, a Louisiana product, and it's amazing what the athletes and personalities and important people who have come out of Newman High School. You not only, of course, have Peyton Manning and his little brother, okay, but Billy Fitzgerald, the great coach there, one of his daughters,
has been nominated. On the
Lizzie Fitzgerald Stempke,
Mm-hmm.
who made it to the national championship game as a setter for Wisconsin in 2000, played for our national team for a couple of years, and then was a longtime coach at the University of Georgia, and now still does some ESPN volleyball telecasts.
Mm-hmm.
But, Michael Lewis, whose connections from Newman to people like Sean Toohey, which got us not only the blind side, but ultimately Les Miles. Right? I mean, not Michael Lewis, but Sean Toohey, Jimmy Sexton,
right?
Joe Dean, Les Miles. I mean, you know that whole story, of course. But Newman is extremely significant in the grand scheme of athletics.
And you look at Randy Livingston, who was on the cover of Sports Illustrated in high school, and was going to be the next superstar,
maybe the best high school basketball player I ever saw.
And unfortunately tore up his knees a couple of times at LSU, but now he's back as the volleyball as the head basketball coach at Newman, which is a good gig because they're picking up the tuition for his 4 kids. At Newman, it's about $25 a kid, so that's a pretty good gig on top of the salary. So happy for Randy, and of course Odell Beckham Jr. From that same high school, but
that's a heck of a class you got going in. But from a volleyball end, from a state that's produced an awful lot of really, really good volleyball players. I mean, this year in particular, we have a lot of years where a lot of kids go off and go to colleges in Louisiana volleyball. But this year, Ellie Holtzman, who's the Player of the Year in the state from Mount Carmel, is going to Illinois, which is in the Big Ten. Amber, I hope I get this right, Iguodala, and I am in the ballpark on her last name, from St. Michael, is going to Hawaii. We've had other players, played at a really high level. Fayette, who went to Parkview Baptist, whose last name is totally escaping me right now. I did write it down, though, just because. Adelaja went to Purdue, finished up a couple of years ago, leads there as one of the greatest hitters they've ever had. And, of course, that's a Big Ten school. Fran Flory, the LSU volleyball coach, not only has had a great run as the coach at LSU, she won a national championship at Texas. This may be before your time, but before women joined the NCAA, they had a thing called the AIAW. And it was their version of the NCAA. And the last year of the AIAW, Texas won that national championship. Then everybody joined the NCAA, all in one. And finally, Fran's daughter, Lindsay, who played for us in volleyball Baton Rouge, was a star at U-High, went to LSU, just got better and better and better. We always knew as she got older, she'd be even better. She just signed a pro contract. She starts in August in Germany.
Wow.
Is that something?
That is amazing.
I know. Lindsay Flory's going to Germany as a professional volleyball player.
You coached that group that she was a part of that had it was a fantastic volleyball
Madison
team.
Daigle leaves Texas State as one of the greatest players in their history. Sidney Davis leaves Louisiana Lafayette as the all-time Diggs leader this year. 8 of those kids on that team played Division I.
So it was a big-time team you had, and of course they finished in top 5 or whatever nationally, together as a group and everything. But I would not, and it's always how it goes in sports, right? You would not have picked Flory to come off of that team as the one to be a professional player.
Yep.
And she will, and that just goes to show you, you can't. It's like nowadays they get these commitments from these kids at 14, 15 years old in all sports, and then the guys pass them up, or they wind up not being the player they thought, because things change over 4 or 5 year period.
Yeah, but another thing we have a tendency to do is you classify kids and you look at them. Okay, he's a youth sport athlete. Right now he's a middle school athlete. Then he's a high school athlete. Then he's a college athlete. And you think of it as like a serious line of demarcation all along those points. And at the end of college, well, you either make it or you don't. Well, a lot of athletes, given the opportunity to maybe play until they're 26, 27, 28, and you see it all the time in the NBA. Who wins NBA championships? Teams with guys, a lot of guys who we're not talking about next week during the NBA draft or whenever it is coming up. Guys who they're not in the first round. I mean, were you thinking when he came out of Arizona State, Kawhi Leonard would be the man in the NBA 10, 12 years later?
Not at all.
Just for example. Certainly, LeBron James and Kobe Bryant are the exception. But a lot of guys, it takes a really, really long time. Look at Garrett Temple. Louisiana guy, went to U-High.
Same story as like a Flory.
Exactly.
You look at the special team.
Got better and better, found the niche in the NBA because he's 6'7", got long arms, super quick feet, can cover a guy. He can just clamp down on somebody, and then his offensive game improved. He became more versatile, older, wiser, and now he's going to be like a ninth-year pro with more money than can possibly ever be imagined for a guy who didn't get drafted.
Lee, tell the folks where they can check out your show.
Please go to sports225.com for all the show listings of when Sports 225 is on the air on Cox Sports Television and on Cox 4. I meet people sometimes, they go, hey, just like you are on TV, and I go, yeah, it's just me talking, just like you and me talking. Ronnie and I have known each other a long time. Well, can I tell one quick Ronnie Rantz volleyball story?
Sure.
So one year, when Madison, his daughter, was playing, we're playing somewhere, and Ronnie had on a set of headphones, pair of sunglasses, and was kind of like asleep, and just in the stands, and he had put a handwritten sign on his belly. So he's back there like this, asleep, and the handwritten sign said, "Please don't tell me the Saints score. I'm taping the game."
I remember that. Totally remember that. I thought you were going to tell the story about how I told you you can yell at her as much as you want. Please do. Get on her.
His kid is the greatest kid. You're a treasure not only in sports media, but I'm so glad that you have the job that you have now, because the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is important in our state. I make the joke, about last in roads in schools, but in sports. But I mean, sports is a big deal. But let me tell you this. There's no one who's bigger than coming on after that next break than Glenn Guilbeau.
Glenn Guilbeau's the best. He'll be coming in next. And then, by the way, one quick plug before you go. The beer tour that you and Matt Moscona do sold out, right?
You never know. There could be more seats. Glenn wanted in on it. He didn't make the last one. There's only 2 seats left as I say this. So on Facebook and Twitter. But anyway, we're going up to North Shore to go to Abita, Chafuncta, and then Gnarly Barley in a big bus. We did one last year. Jay Ducote, Matt Moscona, and I. Oh, and also check out volleyballmag.com, where you can read about volleyball on the national, international level, because that's what I'm doing.
All right, Lee. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Glenn Guilbeau next.
Heater outages hurt everyone. Don't be a victim. Call Accutemp and schedule your maintenance check today.
If you're an avid sports fan, then you need to check out the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, located in historic downtown Natchitoches, next to the Chateau Saint Denis Hotel and the Natchitoches Convention Center. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is where the rich history of Louisiana sports is told through the pictures, artifacts, and by the legends themselves in video archives. Come to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum and visit a world-renowned architectural marvel. For more information and to purchase tickets to the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame events, visit lasportshall.com/purchase.
Introducing the Mercedes-Benz family of vans, including the full-size Sprinter and the mid-size Metris. If these are your wingtips, if this is your gourmet latte, then these are your vans. Vans for professionals. Strictly professionals. Best commercial van residual value according to ALG, and starting at just $25,995. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to...
When you come to Relief Windows, your experience starts here.
Or here.
Then we come to your home.
We measure twice.
And then we bring custom windows to your home.
We remove your old windows. Install your new windows.
Clean our mess.
And we make sure you're completely satisfied.
And all of this before you pay a dime. And at Relief Windows, our #1 product is customer satisfaction.
Relief Windows.
Heater outages hurt everyone. Don't be a victim. Call Accutemp and schedule your maintenance check today.
Can't get enough sports shorts? Tune into Sports Shorts TV on Cox HD Channel 1013 Mondays at 8, Tuesdays at 9, and ETEL Channel 4. That's 52 weeks a year to get educated on sports by the best. Joel Davis and Ronnie Rantz.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Shorts, presented by LeBear's Casino in Baton Rouge. A lot of great shows coming up at LeBear's. Go to Ticketmaster.com to see all the great country shows that are around the corner. And then, of course, at the Edge Lounge, free music throughout the week. And joining me right now is another journalist, our journalist Sports Shorts show. We went from Lee Feinswog to Glenn Guilbeau.
Lee is a casual journalist.
Right. Part-time journalist. We went from a water polo northerner who's a big fan of old school 70s music and beer to a guy who's born and raised in the South who also likes his beer. But what's your jam? What are you listening to? What's your one or two go-to CDs or station on Sirius or something like that?
Bruce Springsteen. I have Bruce on Sirius, but there's some stations right around 20 on Sirius, deep tracks, and I like that.
So you and Lee have the deep tracks. That was one of his two or three.
Yeah. Lately I've been listening to Bob Dylan. I mean, I just have different stuff in my CD, and John Fogerty, who I saw at Jazz Fest. Not a big modern. I like the drive-by truckers though. I've seen them at Jazz Fest and seen them live.
You went this year for both weekends?
I did. Yeah.
And what was the best act you saw over the 2 weekends you were there this year at Jazz Fest?
What, Buddy Guy?
Really?
Buddy Guy, John Fogerty, and the Mavericks were all playing at the same time.
Oh, okay.
And so I rotated. But Buddy Guy really sounded great.
That's interesting.
And I saw Buddy Guy in 2009 at the Cowboy Club here in Baton Rouge. You remember, like off Florida, Cowboys or something. Oh. And he was
Texas Club. You mean
Texas Club?
Okay,
I'm sorry, Texas
still there.
Club.
Texas
Yeah. Had a disco ball still, but he had some cancer issues at that time, and I thought it might be the last time I get to see him, and he didn't sound great that night. But he put out the effort, but his volume and sound in the blues tent was really good. The Mavericks were great. I saw them at Manship Theater a couple years ago. Fogerty was great, though. He had kind of a Vegas feel to his show.
I haven't seen Fogerty. That'd be one I'd want to see.
Yeah, and Al Green, Al Green was great.
75, I think Al Green is, still cranking it up.
Yeah, it's amazing how those guys get old and still good.
This has been, from a writer standpoint, it covers a lot of LSU. This has been a strange last couple of months.
Yes.
Here's LSU basketball. Everything's going wonderful. The momentum's going. And all of a sudden, right at the end of the season, bam, everything breaks out on the Will Wade deal. And
lasted for a month.
And look, I've been wrong a lot the last couple of years as far as gambling is concerned. But I would have bet my house that he wouldn't have been back as the basketball coach at LSU. I thought Will Wade was a gone pecan. Glad he's not. But, man, I was wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was close to being a gone pecan, but I think he got some. He definitely is still kind of on thin ice. If you read his restructured contract, and he lost $400,000, and he's kind of on watch, But the good thing is, before all this happened, he was a short timer for this place. He was trying to win as quick as possible and get a bigger job at a real basketball school. Now he's got to stay.
He's married.
Yeah. Because they kind of got him.
Right.
And I don't think he's an attractive employee at other schools as he was because of the tainted image from the NCAA. But it looks like he's going to survive now, and he's lost a couple of recruits, but he's kept his signees. He may get a big recruit today, and he's going to keep most of his players. I mean, none of those guys were ever really leaving other than
Reed and
Nas Reed and Tremont Waters.
Right.
Maybe the kid from Florida may leave. I forget his name, but he's going to have a very good team next year. And
talking about Williams, Emmett Williams.
Emmett Williams, yes. Mm-hmm. Emmett is thinking about leaving. I don't know why. He's probably not going to be picked.
Because he was a 5-star out of high school, and the kid thought he was going to be a one and done going to college. I mean, they all do, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes the ego and the people around you.
Malachi
you know,
Dupree.
Right. You leave when you should.
Right.
Yeah.
And Emmett's a very good player, but he played incrementally. You know, he never really started. But I think they're going to be good. And
let me ask you this: you made a comment just a minute ago about how you thought Will Wade wasn't long for the LSU job prior to all the problems with the NCAA and that potentially coming up, and of course the court trial deal. I'm surprised you say that, and my question would be, what did you think? What would that list have been like? Because I look at LSU basketball as, you know, if you win here, A, they can pay you pretty close to what you can make elsewhere, and B, you know, you got a good enough athlete. I mean, granted, it's not North Carolina, it's not Duke, it's not Kentucky, it's not Kansas, it's not any of those four. So, but outside of the Big Four, who really would have been a school in your mind that prior to all these problems that you might have jumped to?
Well, I think Will Wade thinks he's a lot better than he is. I think he's very good, but I don't think he's quite as good as he thinks he is. You know, he didn't like the Maravich Assembly Center. He said it should be imploded. Other people agree with that, but he's coming off a 7-9 season when he said that. Why don't you put some skins on the wall before you deserve a new arena? You know, skip 5 national championships before you got a new baseball stadium. But no, I think he thought maybe he could get, you know, one of those big jobs. But I agree with you. LSU can be really big, but it's always kind of number two. I think maybe he wanted to work in the ACC. You know, who knows? But you know, and when Scott Woodward came in, that combination, if more things would have come out in the trial or by Yahoo, they were ready to fire him because the way they redid his contract. And you know, it could still happen if the NCAA investigates, and if they find level 1 or level 2, not even find him guilty of him, just if he's investigated for level 1, level 2.
They have the ability
he could be
to
fired
if they choose.
with cause and not and get the money back. But it looks like he may make it.
Well, I would think at this point they know a lot. If they've made the decision to stay with them at this point after the AD change and everything.
Well, but the NCAA could still investigate, they jumped
absolutely.
on Arizona.
No, absolutely. The NCAA, and I assume they will investigate. Why wouldn't they?
Right. And that could take a year.
Yeah, they investigate a lot less, you know, things. So I would anticipate they will be. But I do think that, you know, they're showing, LSU showing their faith that they want to stay by his side. Well, we'll see if they do long term.
But they're prepared if not.
Right. You've covered a lot of LSU basketball teams. Are they in a situation where if Will Wade were to leave, that this program were to just go back to ground zero and start over? Or has they done enough to where there's something for the next guy if that gets to that point to keep the torch going?
I think the best thing about if they lose Will Wade is Scott Woodward. He'll find a great basketball coach. You know, there were plenty of basketball coaches as qualified as Will Wade when Will Wade got the job. I mean, he's been at only a couple of schools, a couple of years, wasn't great. I mean, he's young, he's energetic, looks like he's a good potential hire, but there's plenty of guys like that out there. So if that happens, I think Scott Woodward would do a much better job than Joe Aliba in finding a basketball coach. I mean, look at him. He just hired the Virginia Tech coach at A&M. He hired Jimbo Fisher for football. So LSU's in great shape if something goes south with Wade with an NCAA investigation over the next couple of years.
The Scott Woodward hire, do you have history with him? Do you know Scott? What was your takeaway?
Well, not well enough to get invited to his party over the weekend. James Carville handled those invitations. I was real critical of James over his little tirade with the SEC.
Right.
But no, I knew Scott when he worked for Mark Emmert a little bit, early 2000s when Saban was the coach. And I talked to him a couple of times when he was at Washington and he was in town. He was always kind of in town.
Right, yeah, coming to see his family.
And
sure.
But I talked to his dad when he got hired, and one of his friends is Cyril Vetter, used to own Channel 33 in town. And I actually interviewed Carville about him too when he got the job. I don't think Carville realized who I was or knows where I work.
Right.
But no, I mean that's just like the greatest hire in LSU history, I think, as AD. He's so qualified on 3 levels. He was a former AD who knows how to hire people. He's worked in politics in Louisiana, and he's worked in administration at LSU. So, you can't get somebody more qualified.
He's Glenn Guilbeau. Tell the folks where they can check you out, Glenn.
LSU Beat Tweet on Twitter, theadvertiser.com, usatoday.com.
All right, we'll take a time out. We come back with Glenn Guilbeau and Sports Shorts right after this.
Heater outages hurt everyone. Don't be a victim. Call Accutemp and schedule your maintenance check today.
If you're an avid sports fan, then you need to check out the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, located in historic downtown Natchitoches, next to the Chateau Saint Denis Hotel and the Natchitoches Convention Center. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is where the rich history of Louisiana sports is told through the pictures, artifacts, and by the legends themselves in video archives. Come to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum and visit a world-renowned architectural marvel. For more information and to purchase tickets to the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame events, visit lasportshall.com/purchase.
Introducing the Mercedes-Benz family of vans, including the full-size Sprinter and the mid-size Metris. If these are your wingtips, if this is your gourmet latte, then these are your vans. Vans for professionals. Strictly professionals. Best commercial van residual value according to ALG, and starting at just $25,995. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to...
When you come to Relief Windows, your experience starts here.
Or here.
Then we come to your home.
We measure twice.
And then we bring custom windows to your home.
We remove your old windows. Install your new windows.
Clean our mess.
And we make sure you're completely satisfied.
And all of this before you pay a dime. And at Relief Windows, our #1 product is customer satisfaction.
Relief Windows.
Heater outages hurt everyone. Don't be a victim. Call Accutemp and schedule your maintenance check today.
Can't get enough sports shorts? Tune into Sports Shorts TV on Cox HD Channel 1013 Mondays at 8, Tuesdays at 9, and ETEL Channel 4. That's 52 weeks a year to get educated on sports by the best. Joel Davis and Ronnie Rantz.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Final segment of Sports Shorts TV presented by LeBears Casino in Baton Rouge. We've got Glenn Guilbeau in here, 2 award-winning journalists. And I say that not knowing any awards that you or Lee Feinswog have won. Guess. But I figure y'all are old. You've been around a long time. You've won some awards somewhere along the line, right?
Kind of like going into the Hall of Fame, I guess. Huh?
Right.
Sooner or later.
You'll be in there eventually. Speaking of the Hall of Fame, for those, the Louisiana Sports Writers Association, which, of course, Glenn's a part of, hopefully. Kent, I'm sure, is going to track you down for that $50. But Glenn and all the sports writers vote every August. They select 8 Hall of Famers each and every year. Last year they had 140 people on the ballot, And they will be inducted June 6th through 8th up in Natchitoches. You can go to lasportshall.com. One of the people being inducted this year into the Hall of Fame is Les Miles. And you covered Les Miles. And people say, well, why Les Miles? He's not from Louisiana. Well, in order to qualify for the Hall of Fame, you have to have either done 2 years of high school athletics, 2 years of college, or 5 years professionally. And obviously, Les Miles did over 5 years professionally in Louisiana. So that's why somebody like himself or Drew Brees, will be in the Hall of Fame. But your takeaway on Les Miles is each and every year goes by and you get further away from the Les Miles era. When you look back on the Les Miles time at LSU, what will be his legacy?
Well, Les just was as good as there was in the country through his first several years at LSU. You just can't argue with that. One national championship and maybe a better team in 2011 that didn't win the national championship. He still had some good years after that. When you look at the overall picture, he's one of the best in the SEC, and you just wonder how much better he would have been if probably the greatest coach of all time, Nick Saban, was not only the same league, sure, but in the same division. They would have won the 11 national championship if Nick's still in the NFL, so that's 2. And I think they would have won in 2012 as well, because that was a very good team. And even with Nick, they win it in 2012 if they don't kick Tyrann Mathieu off the team. They lost some close games that year. Mathieu would have made the difference. And, he was always close in the SEC. He beat Saban as much as anyone. He beat him. He didn't beat him through the last several years, but he beat him 3 times. No one has beaten Saban more than 3 times, which is amazing. So, and, just a great recruiter, put all kinds of players in the NFL. So he's clearly a Hall of Famer and is probably going to make the College Football Hall of Fame.
What's the thing you're most interested in about his time coming up at Kansas?
Well, it's funny. I was at your deal with Archie and Les a few months ago. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. But he was not working yet. He was not the Kansas coach yet. So that is going to be kind of interesting with him as a sitting coach outside the state going into the Hall of Fame. We've had sitting high school coaches go in the Hall. But Les has a lot of class. He's going to handle that well. He was just talking in New Orleans with Tyrann Mathieu this weekend.
Well, he's having his friends are throwing him a big party June 5th, that Wednesday in Baton Rouge at LeBear's Casino, prior to his family and friends going up to Natchitoches on that Thursday, the 6th, for the weekend. He's still beloved, and I don't think it's anything weird. I mean, it's not like he went to Florida to be the coach. He went to Kansas in the Big 12
after he's out of work.
After he'd been out of work for a few years, and obviously wanted a job and needed one, and we're all pulling for him. I mean, if he has a winning season, it'll be a tremendous accomplishment at Kansas.
Yeah, and you're going to find as time goes by, he's going to get more and more popular with LSU people, because the same thing happened to Charles McClendon.
Absolutely,
an amazing comparison too, because McClendon was never quite as good as Dietzel. Les was never quite as good as Saban. McClendon kind of left. It was people wanted him to leave. People wanted Les to leave. But as the years went by, those guys became really popular.
Just under about 3 minutes left to go in the show. I want to get your thoughts on Paul Maneri's team. You were there this past weekend. They're sitting at 17-13 in the SEC as we tape. They've got the play-in game coming up. You'll be there covering that. Does LSU host a regional right now if they lose tomorrow on Tuesday?
No, I don't think so. I think if they win Tuesday and then win another one out of the next 2 games, I think they're going to be in. I think they've finished strong.
So 17 and a loss in the first round of the tournament. They do not host, in your opinion.
Yeah, if they lose Tuesday.
If they win on Tuesday, they've got 2 games to win another one. Chances are they win one of those 2.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
I think they're in. If they lose Tuesday, they might still have a chance, but I just don't think it will happen in that situation. But, I think Maneri's done a great job holding this team together with really some bad luck injuries to, good pitchers, and a lot of his players that came in as freshmen, which is why he got the number 1 recruiting class, which is why he got the number 1 ranking going into the season, haven't really produced. Andrew Stevenson didn't produce as a freshman. He ended up being a great player. So they could be good next year.
No, I totally believe you got to give freshmen the pass, right? You can't make a decision on whether or not they are a guy or not as a freshman. It's not fair because there's very few great ones that have come out the box and been great. Now, Cole Henry, the sources I'm hearing is that Cole Henry will pitch at the SEC tournament. What capacity, how much, how little, who knows? But I know he's thrown, feels good. It's just up to him. I know he had a conversation with a former LSU pitcher, great.
Ronnie Rantz?
No. Would put myself in that category. And he said, well, he just feels a little, the ball just doesn't come out. He feels fine, but the ball doesn't come out great. And he asked that pitcher, well, did the ball ever come out feeling like, he goes, man, the ball didn't feel good half the time I threw. You know what I mean? So I think nowadays these pitchers sometimes just don't understand. There's a difference between being hurt and being sore or not having your good stuff. It's okay to pitch when you don't have your good stuff. Yeah,
that may be true because there seems to be a lot of injuries now. Maybe they're being coddled too much. But Cole Henry, look how long it took Landon Marceau to get where he was good. It might take Henry a little while, maybe not as much.
One quick take, and that is, how far does this team go? We got 10 seconds. How far does this team go in your opinion this year? They make a super.
I think they host a NCAA regional, and if they get to a super, they won't win it.
Yeah, they won't get to Omaha. Yeah,
right.
Probably agreement with you. Glenn Guilbeau, Ronnie Rantz, have a good one, everybody.
Heater outages hurt everyone. Don't be a victim. Call Accutemp and schedule your maintenance check today.
If you're an avid sports fan, then you need to check out the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, located in historic downtown Natchitoches, next to the Chateau Saint Denis Hotel and the Natchitoches Convention Center. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is where the rich history of Louisiana sports is told through the pictures, artifacts, and by the legends themselves in video archives. Come to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum and visit a world-renowned architectural marvel. For more information and to purchase tickets to the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame events, visit lasportshall.com/purchase.
Introducing the Mercedes-Benz family of vans, including the full-size Sprinter and the mid-size Metris. If these are your wingtips, if this is your gourmet latte, then these are your vans. Vans for professionals. Strictly professionals. Best commercial van residual value according to ALG and starting at just $25,995. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to...
When you come to Relief Windows, your experience starts here.
Or here.
Then we come to your home.
We measure twice.
And then we bring custom windows to your home.
We remove your old windows. Install your new windows.
Clean our mess.
And we make sure you're completely satisfied.
And all of this before you pay a dime. And at Relief Windows, our #1 product is customer satisfaction.
Relief Windows.
Heater outages hurt everyone. Don't be a victim. Call Accutemp and schedule your maintenance check today.